Ancient Egypt. The very name conjures images of towering pyramids, enigmatic hieroglyphs, and powerful pharaohs. It's a civilization that continues to captivate us millennia after its zenith, a testament to its enduring legacy. But beyond the grandeur and the mystery lies a complex tapestry woven from the threads of dynastic upheaval, resource management, and the ebb and flow of centralized power. This essay delves into the heart of ancient Egypt, exploring the intricate dance between these forces from the rise of the Old Kingdom to the twilight of the Sixth Dynasty. The story of ancient Egypt is often told through the lens of its pharaohs, those god-kings who ruled with absolute authority. Yet to truly understand the trajectory of this civilization, we must look beyond the reigns of individual rulers and examine the systems and structures that underpinned their power. Resource management, in particular, played a pivotal role in shaping the destiny of ancient Egypt. The Nile, that life-giving river, was more than just a source of water. It was the very foundation of Egyptian society. The annual floods brought fertile silt that nourished the land, enabling the Egyptians to cultivate crops and sustain a large population. This abundance, however, was not without its challenges. Harnessing the power of the Nile required sophisticated irrigation systems, careful planning, and a centralized authority capable of coordinating large-scale labor projects. The success of the Egyptian state hinged on its ability to effectively manage this vital resource. The ebb and flow of centralized power is another defining theme in ancient Egyptian history. The Old Kingdom, spanning from the 3rd to the 6th dynasties, is often viewed as a golden age of stability and prosperity. During this period, the pharaohs wielded absolute power, commanding vast resources and overseeing the construction of some of Egypt's most iconic monuments, including the pyramids of Giza. Yet, even at the height of its power, the centralized authority of the Old Kingdom was not immune to challenge. The nomarchs, provincial governors appointed by the pharaoh, gradually accrued power and influence, particularly in the latter stages of the Old Kingdom. This decentralization of power, coupled with internal strife and economic pressures, ultimately contributed to the collapse of the Old Kingdom and the onset of the First Intermediate Period. The First Intermediate Period, often depicted as a time of chaos and instability, marked a significant departure from the rigid, centralized structure of the Old Kingdom. With the pharaoh's authority diminished, local rulers asserted their independence, leading to a period of fragmentation and regionalism. However, it was also a time of innovation and cultural exchange, as different regions of Egypt interacted more freely, unconstrained by the dictates of a powerful central government. The First Intermediate Period eventually gave way to the Middle Kingdom, another era of reunification and centralized rule. The pharaohs of the 12th dynasty in particular are credited with restoring order, strengthening the economy, and expanding Egypt's borders. They learned from the mistakes of their predecessors, implementing policies designed to curb the power of the nomarchs and consolidate their own authority. However, the tension between centralization and decentralization remained a persistent theme throughout Egyptian history. The success of the Middle Kingdom was ultimately short-lived, and the cycle of unification and fragmentation continued. The story of ancient Egypt is not simply a linear progression from one dynasty to the next. It is a complex and nuanced narrative shaped by a multitude of factors, from the practicalities of resource management to the intricacies of political power. By examining the interplay between these forces, we can gain a deeper appreciation for the challenges and triumphs of this remarkable civilization, as well as the enduring legacy it has left on the world. To comprehend the intricate relationship between resource management and dynastic power in ancient Egypt, we must first understand the paramount importance of the afterlife in Egyptian belief. For the Egyptians, death was not an end but a transition, a journey to another realm where the deceased would live on eternally. This belief permeated every aspect of Egyptian society, from their art and architecture to their daily lives. Mortuary complexes, elaborate structures built to house the tombs of pharaohs and their consorts, were not merely burial grounds. They were microcosms of the Egyptian world, designed to provide the deceased with everything they would need for a comfortable and prosperous afterlife. These complexes required vast quantities of resources, both material and human, to construct and maintain. The construction of a pyramid, for instance, involved quarrying massive blocks of stone, transporting them over long distances, and then meticulously shaping and fitting them together with astonishing precision. This monumental task demanded a highly skilled workforce, sophisticated engineering knowledge, and a centralized authority capable of mobilizing and coordinating the labor of thousands. Djoser's reign, the second pharaoh of the Third Dynasty, marked a turning point in the development of Egyptian mortuary architecture. Before Djoser, royal tombs were relatively modest structures known as mastabas, rectangular buildings with flat roofs. Djoser's chief architect Imhotep conceived of a radical new design, the step pyramid. Located at Saqqara, Djoser's step pyramid was a revolutionary structure, a testament to both Imhotep's architectural genius and Djoser's ambition. It was the first monumental stone structure in Egypt, a precursor to the towering pyramids that would come to define the Old Kingdom. The step pyramid complex, encompassing not just the pyramid itself, but also a vast array of temples, courtyards and shrines, was a statement of Djoser's power and a tangible manifestation of the Egyptians' belief in the afterlife. The construction of Djoser's step pyramid complex required an unprecedented level of organization and resource management. Imhotep's innovative use of stone, a material previously reserved for smaller structures, necessitated the development of new quarrying and transportation techniques. The sheer scale of the project, with its intricate carvings, vast courtyards and towering pyramid, demanded a highly skilled workforce and a centralized authority capable of orchestrating the labor of thousands over many years. Djoser's successors in the Third Dynasty continued to build upon his legacy, constructing their own impressive mortuary complexes, though none would rival the sheer audacity of the step pyramid. The Fourth Dynasty, however, witnessed a resurgence of pyramid building on an even grander scale, culminating in the construction of the Giza Pyramid Complex, the epitome of Old Kingdom power and architectural prowess. Sneferu, the founder of the Fourth Dynasty, was a prolific builder, credited with the construction of at least 3 major pyramids. His reign marked a period of experimentation and innovation in pyramid design. His first pyramid at Meidum, originally conceived as a step pyramid, ultimately collapsed, a stark reminder of the engineering challenges inherent in such ambitious projects. Undeterred, Sneferu embarked on the construction of 2 more pyramids at Djoser, the bent pyramid, so named for its unusual shape, with the lower portion sloping at a steeper angle than the upper portion, and the Red Pyramid, the first true smooth-sided pyramid, and a testament to Sneferu's perseverance and the evolving skills of Egyptian architects. As the pharaohs of the Fourth Dynasty focused their energies on ambitious building projects and military campaigns, a subtle shift in power was taking place within Egyptian society. The priesthood, once relegated to a largely ceremonial role, gradually began to amass wealth and influence. Temples, dedicated to a pantheon of gods and goddesses, became important centers of economic and social activity. The priesthood's growing power stemmed in part from their role as intermediaries between the people and the divine. They performed elaborate rituals, offered sacrifices, and interpreted the will of the gods, ensuring the favor of the divine upon the land and its people. This spiritual authority translated into tangible power as temples accumulated vast estates, received generous donations from the pharaoh and wealthy patrons, and wielded considerable influence over the lives of ordinary Egyptians. The pharaohs, while still wielding absolute power, recognized the importance of maintaining a good relationship with the priesthood. They endowed temples with land and riches, appointed their favored officials to high priestly positions, and often participated in religious ceremonies demonstrating their piety and seeking the blessing of the gods. This symbiotic relationship, however, also contained the seeds of potential conflict. The reign of Sneferu's son, Khufu, marked the pinnacle of Fourth Dynasty pyramid building with the construction of the Great Pyramid of Giza, a testament to both the pharaoh's ambition and the extraordinary skill of Egyptian architects and engineers. Khufu's successors, Khafre and Menkaure, continued this tradition, albeit on a somewhat smaller scale, with the construction of the second and third pyramids of Giza. However, the reigns of Khufu's immediate successors, his sons Djedefre and Khafre, witnessed the growing influence of the priesthood, particularly the cult of the sun god Ra. Djedefre, who reigned for only a short time, broke with tradition by building his pyramid complex at Abu Rawash, a site associated with Ra rather than at Giza. This suggests a deliberate attempt to align himself with the powerful priesthood of Ra, perhaps as a counterbalance to the influence of other priestly factions. Khafre, while continuing to build at Giza, also constructed a massive sphinx, a mythical creature with the body of a lion and the head of a pharaoh near his pyramid. The sphinx, traditionally associated with solar deities, further underscores the growing importance of the sun god Ra in Egyptian religious beliefs and the increasing influence of the Ra priesthood. The Fifth Dynasty marked a period of transition, with the pharaohs continuing the tradition of pyramid building, while also placing a greater emphasis on the worship of Ra. Usakaf, the founder of the Fifth Dynasty, built a sun temple at Abusir, a site that would become a center for Ra worship. He also initiated a series of reforms aimed at curbing the power of the nomarchs and consolidating royal authority. These reforms, however, did little to stem the tide of the priesthood's growing influence. By the reign of Djedkare Isesi, the eighth pharaoh of the Fifth Dynasty, the priesthood had amassed significant wealth and power, controlling vast temple estates, influencing royal appointments, and playing an increasingly prominent role in Egyptian society. Djedkare Isesi, recognizing the potential threat posed by the priesthood's unchecked power, embarked on a series of reforms aimed at reining in their influence. He curtailed the lavish privileges enjoyed by some temples, reduced the number of priests serving in certain cults, and reasserted royal control over temple finances. He also undertook a number of building projects, including the construction of his own pyramid complex at Saqqara. In an effort to bolster royal prestige and authority, Djedkare Isesi's reforms, while significant, were ultimately unable to reverse the trend of the priesthood's growing influence. The priesthood, deeply embedded in Egyptian society and enjoying widespread popular support, proved to be a formidable force, one that would continue to shape the political and religious landscape of ancient Egypt for centuries to come. The Sixth Dynasty inherited a kingdom already grappling with the challenges of decentralization and the growing influence of the priesthood. The pharaohs of this era, while attempting to maintain the grandeur of their predecessors, found themselves increasingly caught between the need to assert their authority and the reality of a shifting power dynamic. The seeds of discontent, sown in the preceding dynasties, began to take root, threatening the very foundations of the Old Kingdom. The reign of Teti, the founder of the Sixth Dynasty, began with promise. He commissioned ambitious building projects, including his pyramid complex at Saqqara, and sought to strengthen ties with loyal nomarchs through strategic marriages and appointments. However, his reign was cut short by assassination, a stark indication of the growing instability within the royal court. Teti's assassination ushered in a period of turmoil, with usurpers and short-lived reigns further weakening the authority of the pharaoh. The priesthood, ever opportunistic, capitalized on this instability, expanding their influence and amassing even greater wealth and power. The nomarchs, sensing weakness at the center, became increasingly assertive, consolidating their control over their respective provinces and challenging the pharaoh's authority. The reign of Pepi II, who ascended to the throne as a child, is both remarkable and tragic. He would rule for nearly a century, the longest reign in Egyptian history, but his reign also witnessed the gradual unraveling of the Old Kingdom's centralized power structure. Pepi II's long reign, while initially a period of stability and prosperity, ultimately contributed to the kingdom's decline. As he aged, his grip on power weakened, allowing the nomarchs and the priesthood to further expand their influence. The practice of co-regency, intended to ensure a smooth transition of power, seems to have fallen by the wayside, creating uncertainty about the succession and emboldening those eager to seize power for themselves. The nomarchs, once appointed by the pharaoh and answerable to him, became increasingly independent, styling themselves as virtual kings within their own domains. They constructed elaborate tombs rivaling those of the pharaohs and raised their own armies, further eroding the pharaoh's military power. The priesthood, with their vast temple estates and control over vital religious ceremonies, wielded significant influence, often acting as power brokers in their own right. As Pepi II's reign drew to a close, the Old Kingdom stood on the precipice of collapse. The once mighty pharaoh, now a shadow of his former self, could do little to halt the centrifugal forces tearing his kingdom apart. The nomarchs, their power unchecked, engaged in open warfare with each other, vying for control of land, resources, and influence. The priesthood, while still paying lip service to the pharaoh, pursued their own agendas, their wealth and influence surpassing that of many nomarchs. The final blow to the Old Kingdom came not from a foreign invasion or a catastrophic natural disaster, but from within. A series of severe droughts, a consequence of the Nile's unpredictable floods, led to widespread famine and economic hardship. The centralized system of resource management, once the bedrock of the Old Kingdom's prosperity, proved woefully inadequate in the face of this crisis. The pharaoh, his authority already diminished, was unable to provide relief to his people. The nomarchs, focused on their own survival, hoarded resources and turned inward, abandoning any pretense of unity or cooperation. The Old Kingdom, weakened from within and battered by external forces, finally crumbled, ushering in a period of fragmentation and uncertainty known as the First Intermediate Period. The collapse of the Old Kingdom marked a profound turning point in ancient Egyptian history. The centralized authority of the pharaoh, which had held sway for centuries, dissolved, leaving a vacuum that was quickly filled by ambitious nomarchs vying for power. The First Intermediate Period, often depicted as a time of chaos and decline, was in reality a period of significant transformation, characterized by both fragmentation and innovation. With the pharaoh's power diminished, Egypt splintered into a patchwork of independent nomes, each ruled by its own nomarch. These local rulers, no longer beholden to a distant pharaoh, asserted their autonomy, engaging in both warfare and diplomacy as they sought to expand their territories and influence. This period of decentralization, while undoubtedly turbulent, also fostered a degree of regionalism and cultural diversity. Freed from the constraints of a rigid centralized structure, local centers of power flourished, developing their own distinct artistic styles, religious practices, and political institutions. The First Intermediate Period, far from being a dark age, witnessed a flowering of creativity and innovation as Egyptians adapted to a new political reality. Amidst the fragmentation and uncertainty of the First Intermediate Period, a new power emerged in the south, Thebes. Located in Upper Egypt, Thebes had long been an important religious center, home to the cult of Amun, a god associated with creation and fertility. Under a series of ambitious rulers, Thebes gradually expanded its influence, eventually challenging the power of the northern nomes and laying the foundation for the reunification of Egypt. The 11th dynasty, founded by Intef I, a nomarch of Thebes, marked the beginning of Thebes' rise to prominence. Intef I and his successors gradually consolidated their control over Upper Egypt, subduing rival nomes and expanding their territory northward. Mentuhotep II, the fourth ruler of the 11th dynasty, completed the reunification of Egypt, defeating the last remnants of northern resistance and establishing Thebes as the capital of a reunited kingdom. Mentuhotep II's victory ushered in a new era of stability and prosperity known as the Middle Kingdom. He and his successors embarked on ambitious building projects, revived trade and restored order to the land. The reunification of Egypt under the 11th dynasty marked a turning point in Egyptian history, demonstrating the resilience of Egyptian civilization and its ability to recover from even the most profound political upheavals. The 11th dynasty, while successful in reunifying Egypt, proved to be short-lived. Internal strife and a renewed challenge from the north led to its decline and eventual replacement by the 12th dynasty. The transition from the 11th to the 12th dynasty, while not as tumultuous as the collapse of the Old Kingdom, highlights the ongoing struggle for power and the shifting sands of political authority in ancient Egypt. Mentuhotep IV, the last ruler of the 11th dynasty, faced a number of challenges, including a rebellion in the north and growing discontent among some powerful nomarchs. His reign ended under mysterious circumstances, and he was succeeded by Amenemhat I, the founder of the 12th dynasty, who may have been a usurper or a relative of Mentuhotep IV, who seized power during a time of instability. Amenemhat I, recognizing the fragility of his position, took steps to consolidate his authority and secure the dynasty he had founded. He moved the capital from Thebes to Itjutawi, a site near the modern city of Lisht, strategically located between Upper and Lower Egypt. This move allowed him to more effectively control both regions of the kingdom and to counterbalance the influence of the powerful Theban priesthood. Amenemhat I's reign marked the dawn of the Middle Kingdom, an era often characterized as a return to order and prosperity after the fragmentation of the First Intermediate Period. The 12th dynasty, which Amenemhat I established, would rule Egypt for nearly 2 centuries, ushering in a period of stability, cultural achievement, and renewed international influence. Learning from the mistakes of their predecessors, the 12th dynasty pharaohs implemented policies designed to strengthen central authority and prevent the kind of decentralization that had contributed to the Old Kingdom's demise. Amenemhat I, recognizing the potential threat posed by powerful nomarchs, took steps to curb their influence, appointing loyal officials to key positions and undertaking ambitious building projects throughout the kingdom to demonstrate his authority and reinforce his presence beyond the traditional center of power. He also revived the practice of co-regency, making his son, Senusret I, his co-ruler in the 20th year of his reign. This practice, while not without its own challenges, helped to ensure a smooth transition of power and prevented the kind of succession disputes that had plagued earlier dynasties. By the time of Amenemhat I's death, the 12th dynasty was firmly established, laying the groundwork for a golden age of Egyptian history. Senusret I, upon assuming sole rulership, continued his father's policies, further strengthening central authority, expanding Egypt's borders, and undertaking a series of ambitious building projects that underscored the 12th dynasty's power and prosperity. He campaigned south into Nubia, securing Egypt's southern border and establishing a series of forts to protect trade routes and control access to Nubian gold mines, a vital source of wealth for the Egyptian kingdom. Senusret I also undertook extensive building projects throughout Egypt, constructing temples, shrines, and other monuments that celebrated his reign and reinforced his authority. His most significant architectural achievement was his funerary complex at Lisht, a sprawling complex that included a pyramid, temples, and a network of underground chambers, a testament to the 12th dynasty's wealth and architectural prowess. He also revived the tradition of sending expeditions to the Sinai Peninsula to mine turquoise and copper, important resources for Egyptian craftspeople. His reign, marked by both military success and economic prosperity, set the stage for the 12th dynasty's golden age. His successors, Amenemhat II, Senusret II, and Senusret III, continued his policies, further consolidating Egypt's power and influence. They maintained a strong military presence in Nubia, expanding Egypt's control over the region and establishing trading posts that facilitated the flow of goods between Egypt and its southern neighbors. These pharaohs also undertook ambitious building projects, constructing temples, pyramids, and other monuments that showcased their piety, power, and artistic sensibilities. The 12th dynasty, through its shrewd combination of military strength, economic acumen and political savvy ushered in a golden age for Egypt, a period of stability, prosperity, and cultural achievement that would stand as a high watermark in Egyptian history. The rise and fall of ancient Egypt's dynasties, from the grandeur of the Old Kingdom to the reunification under the Middle Kingdom, offer a compelling lens through which to examine the intricate dance between resource management, centralized power, and societal transformation. The echoes of these ancient periods reverberate through time, reminding us of the enduring legacy of this remarkable civilization and the timeless lessons it holds for understanding the complexities of human history. The Egyptians' profound reverence for the afterlife manifested in the construction of colossal pyramids and elaborate mortuary complexes speaks to their sophisticated understanding of resource management. These monumental projects, while testaments to the pharaoh's power and ambition, also necessitated the development of advanced engineering techniques, the mobilization of vast labor forces, and the careful allocation of resources on an unprecedented scale. The very existence of these architectural marvels stands as a testament to the Egyptians' ingenuity and their ability to harness the power of collective effort. Beyond the grandeur of the pyramids, however, lies a deeper understanding of the Egyptians' relationship with their environment. The Nile River, the lifeblood of Egypt, dictated the rhythm of their lives, providing sustenance and shaping their worldview. The annual floods, both a blessing and a potential threat, necessitated the development of sophisticated irrigation systems, careful planning, and a centralized authority capable of coordinating large-scale water management projects. The ebb and flow of centralized power, a recurring theme throughout Egyptian history, reveals the delicate balance between the pharaoh's authority, the influence of the priesthood, and the ambitions of regional rulers. The Old Kingdom, often idealized as a period of stability and centralized rule, was not immune to the challenges of decentralization. The nomarchs, provincial governors entrusted with maintaining order in their respective regions, gradually amassed power and influence, particularly in the latter stages of the Old Kingdom, ultimately contributing to its demise. The First Intermediate Period, often characterized as a time of chaos and decline, demonstrates the resilience of Egyptian society and its capacity for adaptation. With the pharaoh's authority diminished, local rulers asserted their independence, leading to a period of fragmentation and regionalism. Yet this era also witnessed a flowering of creativity and innovation, as different regions developed their own distinct artistic styles, religious practices, and political institutions. The reunification of Egypt under the Middle Kingdom, ushered in by the 11th and 12th dynasties, underscores the importance of strong leadership, strategic alliances, and a renewed focus on centralized authority. The pharaohs of this era, learning from the mistakes of their predecessors, implemented policies designed to curb the power of the nomarchs, strengthen the central government, and restore order to the land. Throughout Egyptian history, the ability to effectively manage resources, particularly the life-giving waters of the Nile, proved essential for maintaining stability, ensuring prosperity, and projecting power. The pharaohs, as divine rulers, were ultimately responsible for maintaining Ma'at, the cosmic order that governed all aspects of Egyptian life, including the natural world. Their success in this endeavor depended on their ability to harness the resources of the land, ensure the equitable distribution of food and water, and protect Egypt from both internal strife and external threats. The construction of massive irrigation projects, such as canals, dams, and reservoirs, testimonied to the Egyptians' sophisticated understanding of hydraulic engineering and their capacity for large-scale cooperation. These projects, often requiring the coordinated efforts of thousands of workers over many years, not only facilitated agricultural production, but also served as symbols of the pharaoh's power and benevolence. The Egyptians' ability to manage their resources extended beyond the Nile. They developed extensive trade networks, both within Egypt and with neighboring lands, exchanging goods, ideas, and cultural practices. They mined gold, copper, and other precious metals from the deserts, quarried stone for their monumental buildings, and cultivated a variety of crops to sustain their growing population. The story of ancient Egypt, from its dynastic upheavals to its architectural achievements, is ultimately a story about the relationship between humans and their environment. The Egyptians' deep reverence for the natural world, their understanding of the delicate balance between order and chaos, and their remarkable capacity for innovation and adaptation continue to inspire and intrigue us millennia later. Their legacy serves as a reminder of the enduring power of human ingenuity, the importance of responsible resource management, and the timeless challenges of building and maintaining a just and prosperous society.